As the Detroit Lions offseason program continues to go further and further, Dan Campbell just made an announcement that should make a lot of Lions fans very excited and very intrigued as to what might happen next. And we're going to talk about it in this episode, folks, so stay tuned.
What are we? What makes us what we are and what we're going to be? It's grit. It's what we started with last year, guys. Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and three toes. I will beat your ass.
Can definitely compete with the big dogs.
10-5 end zone touchdown Detroit Lions.
You guys are unbelievable, man. I'm telling you.
We are driven by Detroit.
Hello all Lions fans, and welcome on back to yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike, and as always, we're diving on in. So, we're getting right into it. We're going hot, we're going heavy, we are just going to give it straight as is. Dan Campbell just had himself a press conference to kind of start off, the whole minicamp process, because they're now about to have mandatory minicamp. And during that process, Dan Campbell was asked about the increase of all the talent, all the competition that's in the Lions defensive secondary. And let's be fair and honest here. The Lions have invested heavily this offseason into bringing more talent into this defensive secondary. Let's think about it. This is the second time in 2 straight years that Brad Holmes has completely revamped this defensive secondary. However, though, I'm going to say this. This revamping is substantially better and, in my opinion, has a much better probability of sticking than what we saw for the 2023 season. Let's understand something here. Brad Holmes this offseason, he goes out and he trades a third-round draft pick for Carlton Davis, considered a very good veteran cornerback, a guy that you can put out on an island and for the most part can be able to play at a very solid level. Then he goes into the draft and with his first and second-round draft picks, he gets 2 very good quality corners, Terrion Arnold out of Alabama, and then he gets Enos Rakestraw Jr. out of Missouri. And then you just think about this. You've got those new pieces that you have at the cornerback position. Plus, you still have Stephen Gilmore, and you have a couple other guys that are left over from last year. But then you take a look at the safety room. You've got Kirby Joseph. You've got Brian Branch. You've got Ife Melifonwu. In that same press conference, Dan Campbell talked about how also Brandon Joseph, a UDFA that we picked up from last year out of Notre Dame, he's really starting to progress. He's really starting to show out. And they think that he might be able to start to work himself in a little bit into that safety rotation. And pretty much the reason I'm talking about this is because what Dan Campbell said is that he has been talking with Aaron Glenn, who is obviously the defensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions. We all know this. But according to what Dan Campbell said, he said that, listen, after he's been talking with AG, he's like, they are very excited. They are very, hyped up about this upcoming season because they honestly don't know who's going to be the starting, carousel of guys that is going to be in that defensive secondary. There's so much competition. There's so much talent back there that they can't just say right now off the bat, oh, yeah, this guy's going to be our starting outside corner. This guy's going to be our starting nickel corner. This guy's going to be our starting strong safety, starting, a weak safety. Whatever the case might be. The point of the matter, free safety. The point of the matter is that when you take a look at this secondary, I've said it before, I'll say it again. This is by far and in large the most talent this Lions defensive secondary has had since the 2018 season when the Lions had Darius Slay, Glover Quinn, and Quandre Diggs all roaming back there. But if you think about it, not only do the Lions have the talent, they have the depth. Again, you have Terrion Arnold, you have Enos Rakestraw, you have Carlton Davis. That's 3 quality corners right there. Then you take a look at the safety room. You've got Kirby Joseph, very good quality safety. Then you got Brian Branch, who's already shown himself to be a great safety. He's going to have a very long career in the NFL. Then you take a look at Ife Melifonwu, who last year he burst onto the scene after kind of being dormant for a couple of years. And like I just said, Brandon Joseph got a big shout out from Dan Campbell today in the press conference, which is like, okay, not only do we have starting level talent, but we have depth. We have the ability to rotate players in and out. We have flexibility to say, hey, we're going to move this guy into the slot. We're going to move this guy into the nickel. This guy's going to move to the outside. There's a lot of different pieces that the Lions have in this defensive secondary, which should really excite Lions fans because it's like, listen, we don't have just maybe 1 or 2 cornerbacks, and then if we get injuries to start striking, we're in trouble. No. We've got 3 quality cornerbacks, and again, I didn't even mention Amik Robertson, who is, again, a very feisty guy who can play both inside and outside, and Dan Campbell and Aaron Glenn apparently like him a very high amount. The point of the matter is that when you're already hearing from Dan Campbell, and we know how Dan Campbell is a no BS kind of guy. He shoots straight, and he shoots straight from the hip. There is no, pre-coordination, pre-planning with him. It's like, listen, this is how he feels. This is what he believes. If Dan Campbell is looking at it and saying, listen, we don't know who's going to be the starters for any of our positions. It's a wide open competition. It's anybody's job. That right there ought to be absolutely music to Lions fans' ears, because it means this: nobody's already pre-slotted into a specific position. Everything's wide open, which means may the best man win. Whoever is the best at that specific job, that specific role, is going to be the one that gets the job, is going to be the one that gets that role. And that is beautiful music to my ears, because it's like, listen, we literally have a wide open competition where it's like, hey, if some guy all of a sudden just pulls out of nowhere and is just the best person, then they're going to get the job. It's not like in times past where it's like, well, just because out of necessity or because of lack of anybody else, this guy has to start because he's the best player we have. No, the Lions have talent all throughout the entire secondary, which means you're going to get the best combination of players out on the field. And we already saw what the Lions' rush defense did last year. It was the second best rush defense in the NFL in terms of total rushing yards given up. If you get a defense in the pass secondary that is just, I keep saying this, you get an average passing defense paired with a top rushing defense that you had last year, this is a team that can go to the Super Bowl. With the type of offense that we have with Ben Johnson and Jared Goff, you just get an average pass defense, you pair it with a top 5, top 3 rush defense, you have a chance to go to the Super Bowl. Because think about it. Go back to the San Francisco game last year. If our pass defense was just a little bit better, if our pass defense could have stopped Brock Purdy, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, all those guys in the second half of the game against the 49ers, we'd have gone to the Super Bowl. That right there tells me how freaking close we are to getting to the ultimate prize that all Lions fans have been wanting. Get to a Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl. And when you have a defensive secondary that has this much talent, and as Brad Holmes stated, it's going to be a bloodbath for competition. It is very fierce in that room. But as we know this, iron sharpens iron. If you have that much fierce competition, it's going to bring out the best in everybody. And the better that players play, that means the better overall the unit works, the better cohesion, the better everything works for that defense, which overall makes the team better. It gives the Lions offense and defense a cohesive unit that can play opposite of one another. They can play complementary football, which is something that Lions fans have been wanting for years. They want a defense that can play hard-nosed run defense and shut down pass defense, along with an offense that can air it out whenever they want to and run it whenever they want to, which we already have 3 out of the 4 parts of that key component, that key formula. We just need the pass defense to finally show its colors. And according to what Dan Campbell said in today's presser, the Lions have just that. They have a unit that is full of talent, and it has competition, and they are ready to go. And the Lions, everyone in that building, they are very excited to see who actually gets the starting nod, who gets the starting job. And I'm telling you right now, I'm super excited because it's like, listen, in my opinion, depending upon who gets it, I'm totally cool. I'm pretty confident, if I had to take a guess, that Terrion Arnold being the first-round draft pick and Carlton Davis, the veteran, are probably going to be the 2 outside corners. I would probably be willing to bet that for the starters in the safety room, you're probably going to have Kirby Joseph and you're probably going to have Brian Branch because they have the most experience. But that doesn't mean they're going to see the majority of the snaps. That's why I'm saying versatility, the ability to move players in and out. I am willing to bet you money that this defense is going to be very, very much a rotational defense where a lot of guys are going to get a lot of looks, and it's going to give the Lions defense the ability to rotate players in and out to where they're not getting winded and tired all the time. That is also something that is really good for a defense. The ability to rotate players in and out keeps fresh legs, fresh bodies on the field. And if you can do that not only in the defensive trenches and linebacking core, but in the secondary, you got yourself a distinct advantage that very, very few teams have. And that's why I am super excited, and I know why Dan Campbell is super excited about what this defensive secondary can realistically give for the Lions' chances to go to a Super Bowl this year. That's why Dan Campbell said, I see Super Bowl, I don't see bust. And I guarantee you, this is a big reason why he sees that. But anyway, folks, Minicamp, I'm waiting for more news. I can't wait to hear it. I'm absolutely on the edge of my seat right now in just pure anticipation and excitement. And as soon as I got something else, I'll pull it out. I'll push it out for you guys. But until that time, I just want to say thank you all for watching in another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. If you like what you saw, by all means, highly encourage y'all to watch the next episode. Also encourage y'all to do one of these three things: like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. If by chance you subscribed in the past, forgot to do so at the time, or you just subscribed and not had a chance to do so, again, highly encourage y'all to subscribe. But I also encourage y'all, please, make sure you hit that bell notification icon that's at the bottom of the page alongside the subscribe button, so that way you guys never miss any more content. I also encourage y'all, please share the content with your Lions friends and family members. Please share it on Facebook, share it on YouTube, share it on Twitter. The more we share it, the greater the channel grows and spreads, and the more we can bring in people to have great conversations and commentary about the channel and also about Lions football. And with that being said, I hope y'all had a great time watching the content. Hope y'all are having a great day. Hope y'all have something that makes you happy, makes you smile. And with that being said, until the next time we meet, God bless, hope y'all are doing well, and I'll see y'all in the next episode.